God's covenant with Abram, Genesis 12:1-9, 17:1-8. The covenant between God and Abram, recounted in Genesis 12:1-9 and 17:1-8, marks a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative and serves as a foundational promise in Judeo-Christian tradition. This covenant encapsulates themes of faith, promise, and divine intervention, while also illustrating the enduring relationship between God and humanity. The narrative unfolds with God's call to Abram, who resides in the land of Ur of the Chaldeans, to leave behind his homeland, his family, and his father's household and journey to a land that God will show him. In response to God's call, Abram demonstrates remarkable faith and obedience, embarking on a journey of uncertainty and risk, trusting in God's guidance and provision. As Abram travels to the land of Canaan with his wife Sarai and his nephew Lot, God reaffirms his promise to bless Abram and make him into a great nation. God promises to bless Abram, to make his name great, and to bless those who bless him and curse those who curse him. Additionally, God promises that through Abram, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Upon arriving in the land of Canaan, Abram builds an altar to the Lord and worships him, acknowledging God's faithfulness and provision. Despite the challenges and uncertainties that lie ahead, Abram remains steadfast in his faith, trusting in God's promise to guide and protect him. Years later, God reaffirms his covenant with Abram in a dramatic encounter recorded in Genesis 17:1-8. At the age of 99, Abram receives a visitation from the Lord, who appears to him and introduces himself as God Almighty El Shaddai. God reiterates his promise to Abram, assuring him that he will be the father of many nations and that kings will come from him. As a sign of the covenant between them, God changes Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of a multitude, and promises to make him exceedingly fruitful and to establish an everlasting covenant with him and his descendants. God also promises to give Abraham and his descendants the land of Canaan as an everlasting possession, affirming his commitment to fulfill the promises made to Abraham's descendants. In response to God's covenantal promise, Abraham falls on his face and worships God, expressing his reverence and gratitude for God's faithfulness and provision. Abraham also receives instructions from God to circumcise himself and every male in his household as a sign of the covenant between them. This act of circumcision serves as a physical reminder of God's covenantal promise and the obligation of Abraham and his descendants to remain faithful to their covenant relationship with God. The covenant between God and Abraham is characterized by mutual trust, faithfulness, and obedience. Throughout their relationship, God demonstrates his unwavering commitment to Abraham and his descendants, while Abraham responds with faith and obedience, trusting in God's promises and guidance. The covenant between God and Abraham lays the foundation for the story of the people of Israel and serves as a paradigmatic example of God's covenantal faithfulness and human response. It underscores the importance of faith, trust, and obedience in the life of faith, as well as the enduring nature of God's promises to his people. In summary, the covenant between God and Abraham, as recounted in Genesis 12:1-9 and 17:1-8, is a foundational promise in Judeo-Christian tradition that encapsulates themes of faith, promise, and divine intervention. It serves as a paradigmatic example of God's covenantal faithfulness and human response, illustrating the enduring relationship between God and humanity and the importance of faith, trust, and obedience in the life of faith.